British and Gurkha troops are battling to split the terrorists into isolated bands.
It's easier to get into Harvard University than to join the British Gurkhas.
A Gurkha who single-handedly fought off an attack by more than a dozen Taliban fighters has been...
When you know you're with the Gurkhas, I think there's no safer place to be, really.
If you've heard of the British Gurkhas, you pretty much heard their stories all the time. What you don't hear about is their ongoing battle against discrimination by the British government, the battle for equality. Gurkha veterans were denied equal pension rights with their British counterpart veterans since 1st January 1948, the day the Brigade of Gurkhas became an integral part of the British Army. In 2007, pension rules were changed to give serving Gurkha soldiers equal pension rights with other service personnel in the UK, but this is not applicable to the pre-1997 veterans, who are paid 300% less than their British counterparts.
My name is Judbahadur Gurum, and I am a retired major in the British Army. I say that deliberately because I consider myself to be in the British Army and not the Brigade of Gurkhas. I joined the British Army in 1964 as a boy soldier. Majority of my career for 33 years was in Hong Kong.
I'm Sumendra Rai. I'm ex-corporal, Royal Gurkha Rifles. I served in the Brigade of Gurkhas 15 years. I joined in 1990 and retired in 2005. After then, I became British citizen. That allowed me to rejoin MPGS in the British Army. Then finally completing 22 years, I retired from the British Army.
The Gurkhas have a huge issue on various matters. Predominantly, the issue is about pension. What we were receiving initially was known as the Gurkha Pension Scheme.
The Gurkha Pension Scheme, or GPS, was created in 1947 and linked to the then British Indian Army rates for those with 15 years or more service. It has increased over time, but at a rate far less compared to the UK pension. The government say the scheme was designed for retirement in Nepal, where the cost of living is low. Although an integral part of the British Army since 1948, the Brigade of Gurkhas was regarded as an overseas force until 1st July 1997, when the UK allegedly became the home base, according to the MOD UK. It is absurd to think Gurkhas who served and fought alongside the British soldiers fall outside of the mainstream British Army. In 2007, the MOD offered Gurkha pensioners the choice to either stay in the GPS or join the British Armed Forces Pension Scheme, retrospectively from 1st July 1997. In 2009, retired Gurkhas finally won the right to live in the UK. Many Gurkha veterans now live in the UK, where their paltry Gurkha pension cannot sustain the UK cost of living, thus forcing them to live on benefits.
The Gurkha Pension Scheme at the present, there is a lot of issue on the issue of 200% upliftment.
Gurkhas are demanding equality on par with their British counterparts. According to the Gurkhas, the British government have not honoured the promise of the 200% upliftment even after the John Speller report of 2000.
At the moment, the MOD have provided 140%, and there are still an outstanding of 60%. They provided £25 million for a 10-year period.
As I said earlier, there has been the uplift already, and there has been a consultation where they're looking again with the 25 million that's gone in, so I suspect that we'll see more movement. I do understand it is very complicated pre-1997.
Now this 60%, they say, is enumerated with the Gurkha Welfare Medical Scheme.
Major Dud is referring to the Gurkha Welfare Trust, GWT. It is mainly funded by donors and in part grant in aid from the MOD. In 2018, the MOD made a grant of £25 million over 10 years to the GWT, specifically to improve healthcare, including secondary care for our veterans in Nepal. Out of the 200% upliftment, only 140% has gone directly to pensions, but the remaining 60% is taken away for the Gurkha Welfare Trust. This leaves many questioning the validity of the upliftment.
Now what Gurkhas are saying, those under Gurkha Pension Scheme are saying that we were promised the 200% and we should be given that 200%. On the other hand, you've got the Armed Forces Pension Scheme for those who retired after 1st of July 1997 was given the option to transfer to what was known as Gurkha Offer to Transfer, GOTS, or the Armed Forces Pension Scheme 1975. What we have to understand is that for those who retired after 1st of July 1997, in actual fact, quite a lot of them get much less pension. In fact, in some cases, half the pension of what their similar rank in the Gurkha pension scheme are getting.
In 2007, GOTT was offered to allow Gurkhas who served after 1st July 1997 to transfer their Gurkha pension to the AFPS. For service after 1st July 1997, a full year-for-year basis was allowed. But all the service before 1st July 1997 was calculated on an actuarial basis, with drastic reductions, forfeitures ranging from 64% to 77% across the ranks. Only 23 to 36% of the remaining service was counted as service credit. Unfortunately for some, a lot of time served was lost by this process. For example, a Gurkha major I know of with 33 years of loyal service to the Crown had lost 26 years. Only 7 years of remaining service was counted for AFPS 75. How is this action justifiable? How can you merely on the basis of actuary discount years of service for the nation and the Crown?
When I realized that this offer is not straightforward as I thought, what happened that all my service before 1st July 1997 was being downgraded. This means I served 7 years before 1st July 97, that was downgraded to just 3 years. And when I asked why it happened so, I was told because before 1st July 97, I was based in Far East. That's why I didn't have enough physical connection with the United Kingdom. Therefore, my service has been downgraded. However, individually, I was already in UK on 22nd of April 1994. That means physically I had already enough strong ties with the United Kingdom. So this is a kind of discriminatory treatment offered to me as a Gurkha soldier in the British Army.
The demand here is for the services not to be actuarized, because actuary is all about feeding the right information. If you feed in the wrong information, you get the wrong answer. And we believe you've got the wrong answer. The simple answer to all this is they should be given 1 to 1 year service, and thus bringing it to equal to the British soldier.
One hand, you are expected to be very loyal, trustworthy, uncomplaining soldiers. Other hand, you are not allowed to think outside the box. As a Gurkha, individually, yes, I have seen, experienced different forms of discriminations. During LEAP, we had been underpaid, and we were not given equal pay to our true British counterpart in the British Army. And in generally, there are quite a lot of restrictions for the Gurkhas against their human rights. For example, any Gurkhas were not allowed to marry non-Nepalese national. They were kicked out from the army.
This parliament decided to give rights to Gurkhas to come and live in our country and have a path to citizenship. Isn't it therefore the case that retrospection could also apply to issues like pensions? The one perhaps follows the other.
We hope that the government-to-government talk between the British government and the Nepalese government in the forthcoming talks will yield results to the satisfaction, in other words, the mutual and amicable satisfaction for all Gurkhas. This will mean that the two governments will enumerate the Gurkhas to be equitable in comparison to the British soldier, so that they can live in harmony, and then we get dignity back. And this is our expectation.
When the Gurkhas fight, no one can accuse them of being second-class warriors. Their courage is equal, if better, on some occasions. They're in a class of their own, and yet they demand only parity, equity and fairness.
In this day and age of Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, gender equality and Windrush hearings, the Gurkhas continue to suffer from discrimination for over 200 years of their bravery and glorious history. Where historical injustice is raised from time to time and continues to be raised, retrospective corrective measures are the need of the day. Equality should be held uppermost in the minds of leadership. It's time for the government to honor those who defended them, who make the ultimate sacrifice for this nation. They justifiably ask for equality, and loyalty works both ways.